Hello and welcome to the GSBC podcast. I'm your host, Matt Taylor-Farrington from Purple Bunny Marketing, and this podcast is brought to you by the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm joined by Roger Cameron from Safer Business Growth. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got a few questions today. You won the podcast at one of our events,
which is wonderful.
Yes, some time back. We've had a cyclone in between, and a few things happen.
Yep.
But today we're going to talk about your business and what Safer Business Growth helps.
That's great.
Yeah. So you've got 30 years in accounting, auditing, and business strategy. What led you to establish Safer Business Growth?
I had an accounting practice in Mackay for 20 odd years until 2002.
Yep.
In that time, I'd bought an engineering business with some other people, and the last 7 years of owning part of that engineering business, I worked in it as the in-house accountant.
Yep.
Towards the end of that, we spent about 2 years with an engineer that took us through ISO, and I enjoyed that process, so I decided that's what I'd focus on.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. So you made the move from Mackay. How recent have you moved to the Springfield
about
area?
3 years ago.
Yep.
I'm in the Logan area, but
Yes.
I enjoy the chamber here. It's quite progressive.
Yes.
And I came down and decided I'd get back into accounting.
Wonderful. And your firm emphasises creating opportunities to improve profits, cash flow and business value. Can you elaborate on your approach to achieving these outcomes for clients?
Sure. I use a number of techniques to get people talking about their business and looking at the key ingredients.
Yep.
One of them is what I call 4 perspectives of the business. So I look at the financials, customers, processes and innovation.
Yes.
And that usually throws up a number of things that they can work on. Usually they know the issues that they're dealing with, and we just start from there.
Yep.
Tinker along. And then we use a couple of other processes, business model canvas.
Yes.
And value proposition canvas to, again, get them thinking through aspects of their business.
Yep, definitely. And you offer a one-page strategic plan to focus attention on critical performance indicators. How does that tool benefit business in a practical sense?
Well, it puts it all on one page so that they can look at that on a daily basis and just keep focused on what they've got to achieve. People get caught up in the day-to-day running of their business and lose track of what they're trying to achieve.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely think it's important in business. I know myself, sometimes we get caught in that daily whirlwind.
We all do.
And we sometimes lose sight of our goals. So, like in my business, we call it wildly important goals, and we have a focus on what we're trying to achieve there.
Yes.
So, obviously, for any business, budgeting is a key part of what you do, and it should be a key part of every business. But can you explain the benefits that this process brings to a business?
Yeah, there's a few of them. I think the main thing is I use budgets to thrash out the business plan. So business plans are words, and words can be loose and interpreted in different ways.
Yes.
When you start putting numbers on it, it gets very difficult to be loose. You have to be specific.
Yes.
And it's all trackable, so you can track back to number of customers, average spend.
Yep.
Rather than just we'll be bigger this year than we were last year.
Yes. Yeah, I think it helps to define it and it gives you something to strive towards, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think having a number that you're always looking towards
they're
helps
hard to argue with.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So governance and systems auditing are integral to your services. How do these processes contribute to a company's overall success and compliance?
Quite significantly. So governance is about steering the ship and knowing where you're going and how you're going to get there, and reporting on it in a systematic way on a regular basis. So if you look at the big companies, they all run with boards.
Yes.
They all have regular reporting once a month.
Yep.
They're all reportable to someone, so the directors are reportable to the shareholders.
Yes.
The CEO reports to the board, cetera, et cetera. So everyone's got someone to answer to.
Yes.
And keeps them on track.
Yeah. And how important is it having that even in a smaller to medium-sized business, I guess?
Still important, I think. Maybe in a smaller business you would reduce the size, so you mightn't have a board of 5. You might have one person that you is either mentoring you or you're reporting to, sounding ideas off. The more formal it gets, I think the better it gets. So you've got to have a routine of when it happens, what you go through, financials obviously, but not just sales, but gross profit and net profit and other parts of the financial statements.
Yes. And I noticed in here you've got a bit of a range of industries. So you're looking after cafes, restaurants to manufacturing. How do you, I guess, customise and tailor those strategies? I would imagine they're very different between, a cafe and a restaurant versus manufacturing. How do you tailor what you deliver there in that space?
There's surprisingly similar, because I say that cafes and restaurants are manufacturers. They just manufacture something else. So they manufacture hamburgers or a meal on a plate, as against an aeroplane or a motor vehicle or whatever.
Yep.
But they have similar. They all buy stuff from suppliers. Where manufacturers tend to be slightly more complex is they might have more accounts receivable, so customers that owe them money.
Yes.
So that brings in another time factor of getting the money and potential of it going bad.
Yes.
Manufacturing can also have things like retentions, where part of the sale price is withheld for maybe a year, and then you've got to look at the profitability of the job, given that, say, 10% of it isn't going to be received for 12 months when you're paying wages this week and rent this month. So.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. All right. So you've been doing it for a little while now. Can you share a success story where your intervention led to a significant turnaround for a client?
Yes. Probably the original one that got me excited by advisory work was a IGA type store trading 24 hours a day. They'd been losing money for 6 or 7 months straight. We analysed their figures and sat down with the owner, said they had to increase their prices by a couple of percent, reduce their overheads by a couple of percent, and I forget the third figure. But right at that meeting, he said, yes, I can do this. He worked through his prices of the products on the shelves and said, say there were 50.
Yep.
He said, there's 15 that I can put the price up a little bit, but that'll get me the 2%.
Yes.
And he'd already indicated his staffing was a bit overstaffed and that he could trim
that down.
So he became profitable the next month and stayed profitable after that. So
yes,
that was an exciting, but there's been several good stories.
Yes. Oh, that's good to hear. And what sort of future trends do you foresee in business financial advising? Are you starting to see a change in the way that's done? And how is Safer Business Growth preparing to address that?
I think AI is coming in more and more, which will help, not so much on the numbers, but help on getting the words right to get the message across to business clients. I think I was at a meeting this morning with a group of accountants, and we shared the common problem that the ones that do compliance, so the public accounting firms in Springfield, do the tax return and prepare the accounts. That's one job, and they also offer advisory. But I suspect a lot of their clients will go, no, we have to do the tax return, we'll pay for that. We don't have to do the advisory, so we'll skip that.
Yes.
And I'm working with some clients from last week where I think they've spent 2.5 years going broke. I'm sure it wasn't their plan to go broke. But
no,
they've been running their business that way.
Yes.
And it may be too late, but hopefully not.
Yes.
But certainly if they'd been getting advice 2 years ago, they'd be in a really strong position.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the key from what I'm taking out from our conversation today is just having that planning done regardless, and having a plan to work towards. I know, we work with businesses from the marketing side of stuff.
Yes,
and so we have a conversation with them about, so what are your plans and objectives? And they don't necessarily have clear defined objectives of what they're trying to achieve, which does then make it hard from a marketing perspective to support those objectives in the business to help achieve those outcomes.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I say to clients, if you look at businesses, most businesses struggle to succeed.
Yes.
So they, one of the reasons is they don't understand their financials, and it takes a long time to develop the skills to understand financials. We're not born with it. We go to uni and we practice it for 10 years before we're quite competent.
Yes.
They don't have those skills, but they can learn it about their business. The other thing that tends to happen is they don't have the advisors sitting around. Often they're a one-man band, but they don't have the marketer. They don't have the HR person. They don't have the accountant.
Yes.
Looking at things from different perspectives and coming up with a group decision.
Yeah. And I agree. I think having someone that you can bounce things off of is very important.
Yep.
And especially someone particularly in that accounting space and can understand the financials and the impacts that decision may have on their business is very important. So
it's
definitely.
a bit like juggling. If you've only got one ball, it's easy, but cash flow has 7 balls that you're juggling. Yeah,
agreed. Couldn't agree more. All right, well, thank you for coming along to have a chat today, Roger.
Been my pleasure.
Obviously, to the business owners out there, if you want to get some advice, reach out to Roger from Safer Business Growth, who can have that chat with you. And thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the GSBC podcast, brought to you by the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. Make sure to stay following our socials to keep up to date with the latest episodes.